DreAllDay.com.
Turn the volume up. You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, we're not done. You're going to get the personal initiative, the go-getter energy that moves you, me, and anyone else out there to go make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all these together into one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, one show, one package, one masterclass. It is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic, 10 results, we'll call, of strong social skills. First of all, let me tell you where I got this from, because this one, the 99.9% of the material here is stuff that I just think up from whether my interactions with other people, conversations, questions that I get, things that I just think of that I think, this would be a good subject for a masterclass here on this show. But this one, actually, I got this list from a guy on Twitter named Paul Doninick. I don't even know who Paul Doninick is. I never heard of him before. I don't even follow him. But someone retweeted this tweet that he had posted, and it was this was the title, 10 signs of social intelligence. He listed out 10 things, and I actually liked his list. And all he did was give a list. But what I'm doing is I'm going to flesh out each one of these points that he gave and explain them, and refer you, of course, to some previous masterclasses that I've done on these subjects, so that you understand what are these signs of. Again, he called it social intelligence. What I'm going to call it are 10 results of strong social skills. So anyway, when your social skill, what I mean is when your social skills are strong, these are the things that you're going to see. These are the things that you would notice about yourself, or if you want to know if another person is socially strong, if they're socially equipped, well equipped, these are some of the signs, the outward signs that you'll notice about that person. And if you want to be better, you want to be stronger socially, better equipped socially, these are the type of tools that you need to develop. Now, one way that you can develop all of these tools is by taking my people skills course, which you can sign up for at workonmygame.com/people. That's the people skills course. But right now, what you're going to get in this masterclass is we're going to go over these 10 signs of social intelligence that Paul laid out and that I will flesh out, and I'm going to split this into 2 episodes. So it'll be this one and the next one coming out tomorrow. We're going to go 1 through 5 today and 2 through 10 tomorrow. Again, the topic was 10 results of strong social skills, or being well equipped socially. Point number 1, smiling. Yes, smiling. Smiling, the reason why this is a result of someone with strong social skills is that smiling communicates happiness and calm. It communicates easy energy. A smile is an inviting nonverbal cue. It's inviting nonverbal communication. You're walking down the street and another person is walking towards you and they're smiling. You feel, first of all, more calm with that person. You feel more relaxed with the interaction that you're having with that individual. And again, you don't have to talk to somebody to have an interaction. Nonverbal cues, there's much more interaction happening there than there is in the words that we're actually speaking, even when you're having a conversation with another person. When another person is smiling and looking at you, you feel more relaxed, you feel less anxious, you feel more welcome, you feel more confident to approach them, to speak to them, to say something to them, to ask them a question. You're more willing to converse with a person when they're smiling than if they're frowning, or they just have a straight face, or they're looking at you almost like looking through you. You ever been around a person, they're like looking through you? It's almost like they don't even see that you're a human in front of them. If someone has that type of energy, you may be much more apprehensive about even saying anything to them, like even a hello or asking them a question, if they have that type of energy. But if they're smiling, then you start to smile too. Smiles are contagious. If you ever gone, I'm sure this has happened to everyone who's listening to this. You walk into some type of business, a retail business, a doctor's office, you got a dentist appointment, anywhere that you go, and there's somebody who's at work. That person is working, and you're walking as a customer or a client, and the first person you come in contact with is looking at you, and they're not smiling at all. Whether they're frowning, whether they seem tired, whether they just have a straight face. Again, it's almost like they're looking at, it's almost like they're not even, they don't even register that there's a person in front of them. They just have an energy that's something other than smiling. You feel a little bit apprehensive about the situation. You're like, shit, what did I do to this person? Are they having a bad day? Why are they not smiling? Why do they not seem inviting of the fact that I'm walking up to them? Do they realize that I'm a customer? I'm one of the reasons why they get a paycheck, that I'm coming here and spending my money. And it sets the wrong tone for the whole interaction for you when a person isn't smiling. But now think of a different time. Actually, let me talk a little bit more on that time. I remember I went to a doctor once, and everyone here has been to a doctor's office. I don't know how it is outside of USA, but in the United States, when you go to any kind of doctor, it could be a doctor, a dentist, usually is at some type of doctor. Maybe at the dentist, not always this way. But the way that a lot of the offices will be is that they have this little window there where you can't even see inside the window. So there'll be a counter and there's a window that can slide open and close. So when you walk into the little lobby waiting area, the only people you can see are any other people, if any, who are sitting in the waiting area. And then there's the window, and you could kind of see the shadows. You could tell there's a person behind it. So I guess you go knock up on the window, then they open the window. And a lot of times when they open that window, and this, in my experiences, this is how it's been. Maybe it's been different for you. But when you open that window, the person is not even smiling. They'll just look at you with a straight face. Don't even say hello. Don't even say, hey, welcome to the office or anything. They just look at you like, all right, what the fuck do you want? And I'm like, yo, do you realize that I'm a goddamn customer here? And I've had run-ins with people working at these counters and even told the doctors like, yo, you need to do something with your front desk people, because this is the first impression that your customers, your clients, doctor, are getting about your business, and this person who's on the front line for you is not setting a good tone for this whole interaction. And I've let doctors know that, and it's the same thing I'm letting you know right now. Now let's look at the flip side of this. You walk into a business, and the first person you come across, the person at the front desk, the hostess or host at the restaurant, the mechanic at the auto body shop, the register person at the grocery store, they're smiling. They're looking at you and they have a smile on their face. You don't know them. They don't know you. You have no idea why they're smiling, but they're smiling. All of a sudden, you feel more relaxed. You feel happier about the situation. You feel more calm about what you're about to ask for, or what you're about to do, or the refund that you're about to demand, or whatever's going on. You already in your mind, you are already framing in your mind a higher possibility that you're going to get exactly what you want out of the interaction, simply because the person you're talking to is smiling. Think about that. Think of your own interactions. Think about the last time you encountered a person who you didn't know, a stranger, and think of the look on their face. Think of a time you encountered a stranger and they were smiling, looking right at you, and how you felt. And the last time you encountered a stranger and they were not smiling, looking right at you, and how you felt. Even if, and this really isn't that much about your energy. Like, you could be the most aggressive, bold person in the world, so you're not intimidated by the fact that somebody's not smiling. It doesn't intimidate me when somebody's not smiling, but the interactions usually go a whole lot better when a person is smiling, because they just appear to be more welcoming. And the thing is, the mind-body connection, if you're smiling and looking at another person, it's really hard to be a jerk to a person. It's really hard to be a bitch to a person when you're smiling and looking at them. You feel more happy, you feel calmer, you feel more relaxed, you feel more cooperative, even if the circumstances of the situation has not changed at all. Just by the fact that you had that smile on your face, it's more inviting for you and for the person who sees the smile. It makes everybody else comfortable, and everything seems to go smoother when there's a smile. As the saying goes, you catch more flies with honey than you catch with salt. Successful people, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why smiling is the first point. Successful people are usually these things these words that I've been using over and over, these adjectives: happy, calm, relaxed, inviting. People who are very successful in life, they're usually all of these things. You can usually use these words to describe them. You know why? Successful people are usually generally happy, calm, relaxed, and inviting. You have any reason why? You have any idea why they are? And if you're one of these people, have you ever really thought about why you always feel these energies? Again, generally, we all can get upset or pissed off or frustrated at times, but generally, why are you always like this? Most of the time like this. Because you know that you're successful, however you define the word, and you know that no matter what's going on in the current moment, you know that things will work out in your favor overall in the long run. You know it. So you don't have to feel stressed about anything. You don't have to be a jerk to other people. You don't have to be combative or aggressive in a negative way, or confrontational with people. You don't have to be that way all the time. Again, you may have periods of being like that. I absolutely do. But in general, you can feel happy, calm, relaxed, and inviting, because you know in the long run of life, things are going to work out in your favor. Why? Because that's the way it's been so far. Why? because that's the way that you think. That's the person that you see yourself as. This is the be, do, have principle. You know that, and that's all in the mental workbook, again, which you can get at workonmygame.com/workbook. Even when things go wrong for a successful person, they can still stay calm. Right? Has any of you ever been around a person who things were going wrong? Things were going the exact wrong direction, but they just seemed so calm. They seemed so relaxed. They seemed like they just knew that everything was going to work out, even though things were absolutely not working out in that moment. Why is that? Because successful people, they can remain relaxed even when everything's going left, because they know everything's going to turn out fine. And even if things aren't fine, they know that they have the power to make things fine. And again, that's an internal trait. That is not about your external resources. It's an internal trait and a way of thinking, and even deeper, a way of being. So here's my tip for you. Even especially if you're a person who does not consider yourself yet to be successful. You're on your way to success. You want to be successful, but if you were to look at your life objectively right now, you would say, no, I would not call myself successful. If that's you, here's the tip that I especially want to give to you. Borrow the habits of successful people. Isn't that a very simple idea? Take whatever habits you think successful people have and you start using those habits, even if you're not there yet. Okay? This is what some people will call fake it till you make it. This is what I call becoming it and being it right now. All right, you're not faking it, you're becoming it. What's the habit of a successful person? Do successful people smile? Yeah, you know why? Because they know things are going to work out. Are they happy? Yeah, you know why? Because they're successful. Are they calm and relaxed? Yes, why? Because nothing that happens, even if it's the exact opposite of what they want, is going to destroy their lives or destroy their situation, because they know they'll be able to figure it out and they'll make it work out in their favor in the long run. Why? Because they're a successful individual. Are they inviting and friendly and nice to other people? Yes. You know why? Because they got a nice life. They got a good life. They have no reason to be a jerk or an asshole or a bitch to other people, because everything's good in their life. The only people who have that kind of energy all the time are people who are unhappy and unsuccessful. That's why they have that kind of energy. They got negative energy because they have negative lives. People who have positive lives have positive energy as a normal habit. So if you want to be a successful individual, start carrying yourself the way that you think a successful person would carry themselves. A person who knows everything's good, knows that they're taken care of, knows that they have the resources, knows that anything that goes wrong they'll fix. Start acting like that person right now. Why not? Apply this to every point in this 2-part series. Okay? Today and tomorrow I'm giving you two masterclasses on these 10 signs of social intelligence. I want you to take every single thing that you think describes a successful person. A person, let's just say, no matter how successful you are right now, because there are some people listening to this who say, well, Dre, I am successful. What should I do? All right, I want you to think of a person who's 10 times as successful as you are. Whatever level of success you think you're at right now, think of a person who has 10 times what you got. All right, and I want you to start carrying yourself like that person. All right, how would they enhance? How would their being be enhanced from your current being right now? And I want you to apply that principle to every point that I'm going to give you here, because everything I'm going to give you here, we call this results of strong social skills or being very well equipped socially. We could also call this 10 signs of being successful. Okay, so if you want to be a successful person, this 2-part series is exactly what you want to hear. If you're not a member of the game group, which means you're not going to get all 10 of these, I suggest you go to Work On Your Game U. That's for university, workonyourgameu.com, and get yourself into the game group membership. I'm giving you 14 days for free. Don't be dumb. Don't be an unsuccessful individual. Take advantage of the opportunity I'm presenting to you here. Point number 2. Today's topic is 10 signs of strong social equipment, 10 signs of strong social skills. Point number 2, good posture. Very successful people who are very well equipped socially, always have good posture. Now, as I just said that, you probably adjusted your posture. If you're listening to me, you did. Body language speaks louder than verbal language. We've spoken about this before. Have we not? Body language speaks louder than verbal language. We're going to talk about your nonverbal communication in a future masterclass here. I realize I haven't even talked about that before, but we will be addressing that in the very near future. So listen closely for that one. Look out for that one. Nonverbal communication says more than any number of words you can ever say. We buy people's nonverbal communication before we buy or even hear anything that they have to say, anything that the words that they're speaking. Even when a person is speaking, we are reading their nonverbal communication much more than we're reading the actual words that they're speaking. Even right now, if you're just listening to this audio, you're listening to my voice, but you can't see me right now, this is still nonverbal communication. The volume at which I'm speaking is nonverbal communication. My tone of voice is nonverbal. The inflections, which words I'm emphasizing, which words I'm not emphasizing, that's all part of nonverbal communication. The tenor of my voice, like how deep or how high pitched my voice is, all of these things are communicating certain things to you. And you're getting a certain picture of me, even if you can't see me right now, just based on my nonverbal communication. Not even the actual words, but the tone of my voice, the volume of my voice, how deep my voice is, the pitch, all of these things, the pace, all of these are telling you little clues about me and how I'm feeling and my energy about what I'm talking about. This is the way that it works. So I want you to think, next time you're talking to another person, you probably can't close your eyes when you're speaking to them. They probably think something's wrong with you. But listening to a person's voice and just noticing all the nonverbal cues outside of their actual verbiage, and you'll notice that you're picking up a whole lot about that person just based on that. And people, at the same time, they're picking up the same things about you, your posture. Again, posture is not just the way that you're standing, if your shoulders are back, and that matters too. If you're rounded, if your head is down because you're always looking down at your phone, so now you got pain in your neck because you're always looking down all the time. That is part of the posture, but also anything that's nonverbal. That's what I'm talking about when I say posture here. So if I told you right now, all right, this is harking back to point one. If I told you right now, assume the posture of a successful person, what does that look like? Whatever that means to you. I say assume the posture of a successful person. What does it look like? What are you going to do? You'll probably stand up straighter. You'll smile more. You'll make more eye contact. You'll just feel more confident in yourself in a way that you probably couldn't even say physically what exactly that looks like, but you can embody it, right? If you needed to. That's what a successful person looks like. You know what the answer is. And then I told you, assume the posture of an unsuccessful person. What do? You stoop down, you slouch down, your head is down, your eyes are down, your energy is lower, you're not making as much eye contact. You know the answers. You would know what to do. If I said look like a successful person, you would change your posture in a certain way. I say look like a failure, an unsuccessful person, you would change your posture in a different way. You know the answers. Now, think of your own posture, your normal everyday posture. And I want you to remember something. People are judging you. When I say judging, they're judging how successful you are or not, how trustworthy you are or are not, all based on your posture, not based on the words that you say. All right? People don't really notice the words that you say, again, as much as they notice everything else about your communication. And people are judging you and they're making decisions about you based on that. People decide whether they're even going to listen to anything that you say before you start speaking on stage, before they subscribe to your podcast, before they listen to the 10-minute video. Within 30 seconds, they're pretty much deciding about you based on your posture, based on your nonverbal communications. And if there's no connection, if there's a disconnect there, they're not hearing you. Not a damn thing that you said. Even with all the eloquence in the world, you're not going to change their mind. And everybody does this. Again, you do it to other people and other people are doing it to you. Point number 3. Today's topic. 10 signs of strong social equipment, results of strong social skills. Number 3, strong eye contact. Now, we just talked about this a little bit in the posture point. To me, I could put eye contact as part of the posture. I would put this in the same category, but it's also a necessary detail that is in need of its own point. So I'm glad it's here as its own point. Let me ask you a question. What is the eye contact of a successful person versus the unsuccessful person? See, a person who's very successful, let's talk through this. A highly successful individual makes eye contact with everyone they come across. They make eye contact when they're talking to you. They make eye contact when they're listening to you. They make eye contact when they're evaluating you. Why is this? And then the unsuccessful person, they make eye contact as well. Actually, unsuccessful people don't necessarily avoid eye contact, but let me ask you, if you were to imagine yourself right now looking into the eyes of a successful person and then shifting your vision 2 feet to the right and looking into the eyes of an unsuccessful person because they're standing right next to each other, could you tell me the differences? Can you tell me the differences between what you see in the successful person's eyes versus what you see in the unsuccessful person's eyes? I'm pretty sure you could. What do you see? The confidence and the positive energy in the eyes of the successful person. You can see that in a person's eyes. And forget the rest of their body. You can see it in their eyes. Versus the shame, the grief, the disappointment, the lack of energy in the eyes of the unsuccessful person. Can you imagine the difference between the two? I'm 100% sure that you can. As the saying goes, the eyes are the windows to the soul, and the eyes never lie. If you can get better at just the simple practice of making eye contact with people, looking people in their eyes, holding eye contact a little bit longer so you can read a little bit more about what's going on in a person's mind. Because the person's eyes will tell you exactly what they're thinking. It'll tell you how they're feeling. And again, the more practice you get at this, the better you'll get at figuring it out. But you have to develop the habit of actually making eye contact with people. I see these days a lot of people there's less and less eye contact happening in the world these days. And I think one of the main culprits is because we're always on these devices to where we do the majority of our communication through the devices and not actually in real life. Therefore, people don't have strong social skills. They don't have strong people skills and actually dealing with people in person because you're used to making all your contacts through text messages and written communication. Now, I know people, grown men, who I'll see them out somewhere and we'll be talking and have a 45-minute conversation in person. And then I'm talking and they're like, yo, let's connect, let's do this and that. And then I reach out to them, I'll call them, they won't answer the phone, but then they'll text me all day. Because people are just not comfortable in having direct conversation. They're not comfortable in having direct communication. So here's where I suggest you take advantage of the opportunity, which is always in what everybody else is not doing. Since so many people are so uncomfortable having direct conversations, even on a phone, people don't want to talk on the phone. People rather text than talk on the phone. And people are, I think, definitely afraid of a face-to-face conversation. What you need to do is get more of those. Get more face-to-face interactions with people. If you can't do that, at least have a phone conversation with people, because it will help you get better at reading people's energies. It'll help you get better at reading people, period. The more information you can get from a person, the better. If all you can get is reading what they write, that's the lowest level of information. But if you can hear what they're saying through speaking, and now you get all the voice cues, now you got a lot more information. Now you add the voice cues to the physical posture and the body language and how the energy, the way that they're moving, all of these things. Now you got so much information. You can learn a whole lot about a person if you can train yourself to actually pay attention. Now that's a people skill there too, is actually paying attention to other people. But I'm not going to step on some of the other points I'm going to make here. Even though, again, successful and unsuccessful people both make eye contact, there's a difference. The eyes are the windows to the soul, ladies and gentlemen. People who are good at making eye contact, listen, they're reading exactly what you're thinking and how you're feeling through your eyes. And you need to learn to do the exact same thing to other people. Because when you come across someone with strong social skills, they are doing this to you. You just need to get good at doing it to other people. And I mean, you're not doing anything wrong. All you're doing is reading the signs that are right there in front of you. But most of us don't notice most of the signs that other people are giving off non-verbally. You know why? Because we are so focused on ourselves. We are so self-centered and self-conscious that we're not even paying attention to other people. But when you get better at paying attention to other people, you don't have to be self-conscious because your confidence is fine. You know you're taken care of. You can give energy to other people. I talked about this in the confidence chapter titled The Super You in my book, Work on Your Game. If you don't have that book, then I suggest you go to workonyourgamebook.com, workonyourgamebook.com and get the book. Point number 4. Today's topic is 10 outward signs of strong social skills. These are ways you can check yourself to see if your social skills are strong or weak. Number 4, fluid hand gestures. So this is all of this could go under the umbrella of posture, but I'm glad they're in separate points here because again, we can go into detail into each one. Confident, successful people, you know what they do with their bodies whenever they're anywhere, even when they're by themselves, but we wouldn't know when they're by themselves. Confident people take up space, quote, take up space, close quote, anywhere they go because they unconsciously don't mind being seen and noticed. In other words, a confident person, when they sit down somewhere, they will put their stuff maybe on a chair next to them or in a space on a table next to them, or they'll spread their arms out. Men will often do this. Men will put their arm around the chair to the left of them and maybe also to the right of them, or they'll have their legs more open, their feet more wide apart when they're sitting and that's what we call taking up space, as opposed to if a man is not feeling very confident, he may make himself small. Now, again, if I told you to assume the position, if you're sitting down of a man who is taking up space, what would you do? If you see a person putting their hands on their hips with their elbows pointed out, that's taking up space, right? They're making themselves larger. But if you put your hands by your sides and you have your arms hugged into to your torso, now you're making yourself smaller just by default, by the way that you're holding your body. These things matter. These are small nonverbal cues that a lot of people don't pay attention to. But when a person's feeling very confident, again, go somewhere where you can watch people in public, just people watch, and you'll notice this, that people who are confident, you can read it off of them by the way that they're using their bodies. They will take up space in such a way that they don't mind knowing that other people are noticing them because they feel good about themselves. They want to be noticed. And people who are unsuccessful, they don't take up space. They make themselves small. It's almost as if they're trying to hide in plain view because they don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel confident in themselves, so they don't want attention because they don't want you to notice how unconfident they are in them. Or maybe they do want you to notice, but they don't want it. They don't want to be put on Front Street. Unsuccessful people make themselves small through their posture, through their eye contact, because they are unconsciously avoiding being seen because they're not proud of themselves. In conversation, and this is what the fluid hand gestures mean. Next time you have a conversation with someone, check them for this. Again, an in-person conversation. Successful people will gesture and they will use movements that are in sync with their words. Again, if you watch people talk, just watch two people having a conversation, you're not even in the conversation, you'll notice that we often use our body language to accentuate the words that we're saying. We use our hands. Right now I'm talking, if you're not watching this on video, I'm using my hands and moving my hands a certain way that are perfectly in sync with the way that I'm talking. Maybe they're not so much in sync because I'm thinking about it now, I made it conscious. But when people are talking, they use their hands and gesture to go along in sync with their words to make their points even stronger. But an unsuccessful person usually doesn't do this. They are inhibited. Not because they all of a sudden lost this unconscious ability to gesture with their hands. It's because they are so self-conscious that they arrest all of their movements. And thusly, they make themselves smaller. They make themselves less conspicuous. They're trying to hide, again, in plain sight. And this is an unconscious thing. So you need to, first of all, check yourself for this. And second of all, start noticing this in other people. Point number 5. Today's topic is 10 outward signs of strong social equipment, strong social skills. It's hard to say that phrase 3 times fast. Number 5, this is a big one right here. People with strong social skills let others talk more. We talked about people skills many times here on this show. Just recently I talked about it. I'm looking here. Mastering your anti-people skills, masterclass number 1297. If you've not listened to that, I suggest you listen to that one over and over again. Mastering your anti-people skills. Is there some people out there who really need to master these anti-people skills? They don't realize that it's making them look bad in the eyes of other people, unbeknownst to them. Masterclass number 1260. People skills that will improve your interpersonal relations immediately. One of them is this one right here. Point number 5 today. Letting other people talk more than you are talking. Socially strong people do not have the pressing need that unsuccessful people have. That pressing need is a need to make yourself feel important. Now, there's a difference between being important and doing things to make yourself feel important. Successful people, they are important. They have a huge impact on success. That's the definition of important. But they don't have to do things constantly to make themselves feel important because they already know they are important. So they don't need to do it artificially. Unsuccessful people, however, they do it artificially because they most of the time don't even realize they're making this mistake, which is why I did episode 1297 and number 1260. Unsuccessful people don't know in their bones that they're already successful. So they have to prove it in every conversation by talking. Successful people are perfectly fine listening to you talk, and they're perfectly fine letting everybody else talk in any social setting. And they will often, even if you try to get them to talk, they'll talk, but they will downplay their own importance unless they are pressed to talk about it, or unless somebody else in the room already knows them and starts singing their praises in front of everybody. Successful people don't have to tell you how great they are. They don't have to toot their own horn. There's nothing wrong with tooting your own horn, but a successful person doesn't have to run up on everybody they meet and make sure that you know how great they are because they're already great. When you know you're great, you don't have to remind everybody. It's already there. It's self-evident. Unsuccessful people don't have this feeling within. They're not successful from the inside. They want to look successful on the outside. So they're always trying to do things to compensate for what they lack internally, externally. One of the ways that human beings compensate for what we lack internally, externally we talk about. If you want to know of a person, you want to notice or be able to identify a person who doesn't feel too confident in their own success and their own confidence and their own being, you'll notice that they won't shut the fuck up. They talk too much. Successful people have a calm, assured energy that speaks for them. All right, they don't have to tell you how great they are. You can just tell by their energy. Listen, I don't know who that. Have you ever been somewhere and you encountered a person who you didn't know who this person was, but you could tell by their energy, just by the way they walked in the room, by their body language, maybe by the way they were dressed, the way that you saw them communicating with other people, even if you couldn't hear what they were saying, their nonverbal communication, you could just tell. Like, I don't know who that is, but that person is somebody. That's somebody. Who is that? Who's that person? Maybe you went up and asked them, who are you? You somebody. I could just tell. You ever been around a person like that? You ever seen that? Ever had anybody ask you that? This is what happens when a person has that calm, assured energy. The energy speaks for them in such a way that other people just notice them even without them saying anything. Unsuccessful people, however, they are trying too hard to look successful and they make the mistake. This is a dead giveaway to people who have strong social skills. Is a dead giveaway of an unsuccessful person when they're around someone who won't stop talking about themselves. So the unsuccessful person thinks they're impressing people by talking all day, but the people who know better, people who have sharp skills, notice how you're overcompensating for your lack of success by talking about yourself all day. So you think you're impressing people, but you're actually showing them exactly who you are. And they know, but they're too polite to tell you. They don't need to point it out to you. Unless you ask them to, they'll tell you, but they're not going to try to embarrass you. They're just going to notice you, and they're going to move on and go find a successful person to talk to. It's obviously not you. Remember the class on anti-people skills, again, 1297. Nobody cares about you. Let me say that one more time. And I talked about this one. I gave a whole masterclass to this exact point. It's number 1329. Masterclass number 1329. Nobody cares about you. They don't. No, everyone's favorite subject is ourselves. So let everybody, every person you meet, find a way, and this is not very hard to do, find a way to let them talk about their favorite subject. And let me tell you what their favorite subject is not. All right, it ain't you. You are not anybody's favorite subject but you. Nobody else has you as their favorite topic. Okay? Socially skilled people are able to make friends very easily. You know why? Because they don't talk about themselves. They let everybody else talk about themselves. And we all love a person who will sit and listen to us talk about ourselves. Successful people are able to suppress their own ego when they're around other people. They don't need to tell you how great they are because they already know that they're great. They don't need to prove it to you by talking more. Now, what you need to do is check yourself against all of these traits that I've given here today, and check yourself against, again, masterclass number 1260 and 1297 about people skills, that some violations of people skills that you may be making that are costing you relationships, but people are a little bit too polite to tell you that you're making these mistakes. I'm not too polite to tell you. That's why I made these master classes. So make sure you're checking yourself here. So let's recap today's topic, which is part 1 of 2. 10 signs of social intelligence, which was named by Paul Doninick on Twitter, but I hijacked it and I'm calling it 10 results of strong social skills, and I'm fleshing this out. And again, we're going to talk about that in a day or two, how I hijacked this and actually made it my own. We're going to talk about that in detail here. But we're doing 2 parts here today. Today's 1 through 5. Number 1, smiling. It communicates happiness, calm, easy energy. It invites people in. It makes people relax. It makes people comfortable with you. And successful people are usually all of these things: happy, calm, relaxed, and inviting. You know why? Because they're successful. And they know that things are going to work out in their favor. Even when things are going terrible, they're still calm and relaxed because they know it's going to work out. So here's my tip for you. With everything I tell you here today and tomorrow, even if you are not successful, borrow the habits of somebody who is. And if you are successful, borrow the habits of somebody who's 10 times more successful than you. Apply this to every point here. Point number 2, good posture. Body language speaks louder than verbal language. Please remember this. Nonverbal communication says more about you than any number of words you will ever speak. We buy what people are communicating non-verbally before and over the top of anything they communicate verbally. I don't care if you just got off the stage giving a 2-hour speech. People are deciding whether they like you or not based on the words in your speech. Even though that's the only thing you practice, it's your body language, your posture, your non-verbals. That's what gets people to buy into you or to not buy into you. So assume the posture of a successful person. What does that look like? You already know. Assume the posture of an unsuccessful person. What does that look like? You know. Which means I don't need to explain these to you. This is innate. It is wired into us as human beings to know what success and a lack of success looks like in a person's body language. Now you need to check your own body language and make sure you're communicating what you want people to think about you. Point number 3, strong eye contact. To me, this is part of the posture, but also a necessary detail in need of its own point. What's the eye contact of a successful person? What's the eye contact of an unsuccessful person? See, people think that unsuccessful people don't make eye contact. That's false. They make eye contact. It's just a different kind of eye contact. The eyes never lie, ladies and gentlemen. They are the windows to the soul. If you learn to pay attention, if you train yourself to pay attention to other people's nonverbal communication, specifically how the look in their eyes, they are telling you everything you need to know about them. The reason why we are so bad at noticing is because we are always so focused on our own selves and not able to focus on other people. We are so self-conscious. We're thinking how they're perceiving us rather than just being open to other people. And again, in my book, Work on Your Game, I help you solve this problem that we don't notice these things, but people are telling you everything you need to know if you would just pay attention. Shut up the internal conversation in your mind and pay attention. Point number 4, fluid hand gestures. Successful people take up space wherever they are because they unconsciously do not mind being seen and noticed. Unsuccessful people make themselves small to avoid being seen because they're unconsciously not proud of themselves. In conversation, successful people gesture. Their gestures and their movements are in sync with their words. Again, go out in public and watch 2 people having a conversation. You'll notice that a person's gestures and their words are in sync. Why? Because that's the way human beings talk. It's just the way that we're wired. And a person who is unsuccessful or very self-conscious, they'll be talking, but the gestures are not in sync simply because they are too self-conscious. They're thinking about it too much. Therefore, they hijack the part that would work in their favor, which is the unconscious communication, and they mess it up. Point number 5, socially strong people let everybody else do all the talking. They don't have a pressing need to make themselves feel important through talking. They don't have to prove themselves in every conversation. They're perfectly fine with letting you talk, letting everybody else talk, and even when they do talk, they will downplay their own greatness unless they are pressed to talk about it. This is what successful people do. Again, when's the last time somebody asked you about your success and your achievements? Did you go on and on telling them how great you were, or do you downplay your own achievements? Successful people downplay their greatness because they don't have anything to prove to everyone in every social setting. They've already proved it by their work, by their presence, by their being. Remember the class that I did on anti-people skills, 1297. Nobody cares about you, number 1329. Let everybody talk about their favorite subject is the best way to make friends. All right, you want to get good at making friends, don't talk about yourself at all. Ask other people questions about themselves and let them talk. Shut the hell up and let them talk. I guarantee they will love you by the end of the conversation. You didn't even say anything. All you did was listen to them talk. Because everybody loves to talk about their favorite subject. Anyone who will allow us to talk about our favorite subject will become our best friends because nobody else does it. Everybody's so conscious talking about themselves. When we finally come across someone who's willing to listen, we love them. You could be this person. Tomorrow we're going to get into part 2. Work on your game. Dre all day.